You have to watch out for the Sivir counter picks, though, to Tristana, so looks like that may be the last one left up.
Yeah, lots of ADs actually banned out here with Triss, Kalista, and Caitlyn all getting the axe in phase number 1. This gives TSM the easy first pick Maokai. That's kind of one of the other mainstay champions of this patch.
Maokai guaranteed engage. Okay, we shall see Tree SM in action this game.
How far will they go? I don't think Ivan's going to make a resurgence.
Probably not.
Probably
I mean,
not.
he can rush Ardent Sensor. I think he's still a viable jungle champion, just nowhere near the power that he previously had.
Well, Ash and Gragas, the quick picks there for CLG, so Omar's going to take his most played jungler into battle, and Ash, actually a pretty big contested pick between the two marksman players here, so with all the ADs banned away, CLG wanting to take one early.
Yeah, Omar has pretty much been on Gragas or Maokai duty permanently. He had one Elise game in there, but it's definitely comfort for CLG to have him on that champion. See if they can get those engages off. Meanwhile,
showing a lot here actually with these last two picks. Talia and Na already locked in, so the Maokai flex is gone. They're just going to show their entire top half of the map, which is where TSM have lent on a lot this split. So kind of curious to see that they're confident in a lot of these matchups. Is who he's just going to take Orianna here.
and this is who he's done in reaction to people taking away the Talia from him. And it definitely does change his style. It makes him much more likely to just stay in the lane, go for the CS early, try and farm it out, scale up his Orianna to the team fights. And it's actually going to be Bjergsen who has a lot more tools as far as trying to shove early and get into those side lanes.
Well, we're already into phase 2 of bans. Phase 1 went by very quickly for these two teams, so Tom Kench will be the first ban away. There's Alistar going to join the roster for TSM, so 2 supports banned already.
Yeah, Tom Kench, common ban when you do have Ashe on your side. Don't want to have him nullifying a lot of your ultimates, so get that one off the board. And seems like we'll probably have the melee champions come through. Braum, definitely still available, definitely still a very strong team fighter that they could use if they really wanted to go with the 5-on-5 setup.
And then there's kind of all the playmaking champions. I mean, Tarek is one of them, so he's going to get banned, but Braum, Blitz, Bard, Thresh, these are all champions that are available as well. And even Morgana for Afro in particular is something he's played quite a lot of into those style of champions. So there's a lot going on in the bot lane.
Definitely true. It seems like TSM side might also want to think about an Ardent Sensor support for a little bit more late game power there for scaling from the bottom lane. They already have a really strong front line with this mobile mid laner, so that could definitely go a long way in rounding it out. But playmaking, the name of the game for CLG there. The Thresh you mentioned, Pastry, gonna hit the nail on the head.
Gonna get stolen. Zaframi takes it away from Bifrost. Camille was actually TSM's last ban as well, so giving themselves a few more options, but we'll need an AD here. You mentioned Sivir, it's a champion that's picked up a decent amount of popularity both last patch and this patch. And with so many ADs already banned, that will be double its champion here for game 1.
Okie dokie. Kind of as we thought, the last one there left out of the group. Definitely possible to carry those late game team fights. We were looking from some definite carry potential and some scaling from the bottom lane from TSM. Also really do like Sivir with, as we said, those super strong frontliners. Be able to guarantee their engage here. A little bit of extra speed, never hurt Maokai.
Nope, certainly not. And Braum actually the last pick over something like a Bard that Bifrost could have taken here. So no uncensored support, but a very good defensive support to protect your carries.
As we were talking about, Braum goes a long way in rounding out your team fighting 5-on-5 capabilities once you move towards that mid game. I also always really love Braum versus Gragas. You know, as a Gragas player, it's very frustrating when he gets to Unbreakable to block your ultimates and your, half of your engage, basically.
So solid drop for TSM, but last pick Sejuani actually, as Omar's willing to flex that Gragas and take Sejuani instead. So Dashang will have a tank in the top lane versus the Gnar. Could be tricky, but Gragas tends to hold his own in a lot of lanes, and Omar's going to play, I believe, a new jungler for himself. Hasn't played that many games, so isn't hugely surprising, but Sejuani's a pretty big departure.
It is, and you do want to have, multiple melee champions on your team if you do have Sejuani, so you can get better use out of, her extra stuns with the passive. That's one of the best parts of the champion kits. They do have Gragas, in the top side, Darshan, so he's going to help out in the team fights and trying to proc those. See if they can actually stun up multiple targets. got to work your way through the front line, basically.
Yeah, a ton of AoE though for CLG, and lots of lockdown as well between Sejuani, Gragas, and Asharis, plus Hook and Orianna Ultimate. Like, lots of team fighting here for CLG. We've heard these two teams talk about it. Whenever they play, it's always one big team fight that happens, and CLG is set up well for it.
That is the meta right now.
Certainly doesn't hurt. As almost always, TSM chants are currently the loudest, but generally the crowd's been back and forth. I imagine there'll be a lot of split cheering.
Love it when these two bleed into each other.
Well, chanting his team's names for a long, long time, Kobe, as we're out under the roof for game number 1.
The longest
yes.
of any League of Legends rivalry. At
right.
the very beginning. It actually, technically, I would say the rivalry between Hotshot and Reggie started pre-season 1. Some fighting over websites and streaming.
I remember those days. I don't know how many people still in the audience do, but I know you do.
Definitely some fun days.
Well, we'll see what happens here now in the modern-day version of the rivalry. Some of the faces have remained the same for a while. So always fun to see these two teams go to battle. On the TSM side, definitely have to watch some of that side lane pressure. They've played a lot with 1-3-1 and 4-1 splits so far. And with the likes of Na and Talia, can get that sort of thing going as well. Try and break up some of CLG's team fight.
It is the one extra little wrinkle in this game, right? The Gnar and the possible split pushing pressure when you have Black Cleaver and Frozen Mallet. They do have kind of another option. If TSM decide to go with that strategy, though, they have to be very careful about their timings. You know, they are facing an Ashe, Gragas Sejuani. That is basically guaranteed engage. So whenever you're trying to play that tenuous split push game and create the pressure to gain your objectives on the side, as we transition later into the game, they will definitely have to keep their timers on the CLG ultimates.
Well, we're a minute 35 into this one. Looks like Sven starting on the blue. Has those 3 saplings lined up already. Double and Bio going to walk to the lane.
Number 1, you want to delay them so they get the extra damage over time bonus. There they go. Number 2, they stack a little bit, but it's not a big deal. Maokai has 0 problems clearing without a leash. Sven going to take that one up.
Yeah, no wards placed, so CLG won't have as much info as they could have had, and there is a blue ward there on the red buff, so TSM are going to see Omar start that buff up in just a moment. Afro though, nice play on the double lift, huge amount of damage done already. Might go for level 1, Afro does have Ignite, but stun's almost going to land, Afro going to back off.
Yeah, fighting in the ranged minions there. You can see Dixie was tanking, so that's quite a bit of extra damage. The advantage to the team that's kiting back in the bottom lane on those 2 versus 2s, you get to have your ranged minions doing some extra work for you, so even if you're the victim of a good play or something like that, they can often even out those trades. CLG will get lane control to try and get level 2 first, though. Nobody gets surprised by that anymore, though. Level 2 power spikes. Not going to catch anybody off guard.
Yeah, lots of respect given here from Double and Bio. Actually stay in XP range, but again, not challenging too aggressively. We'll see how the rest of that lane develops as Sven is on the invade train right now.
Yeah, because of that ward that you pointed out earlier, good eye there, Bay Street. Sven Skaren knows that Omar just did the very standard clear back over to his blue side, so he can go for the Krug steal. It is a decent amount of money, but the experience is very much lacking in the first clear of it. Looks like CLG have communicated this, no big surprise to them either. And Darshan did get one, I believe, at least. 10 gold pop up.
Steals a little bit, but Sven just going to clear the rest of the camp and walk away. Omar getting his bot side scuttle crab, so...
I do think as well, whenever you see that, and as Darshan did find him stealing away Krugs, the answer is usually to immediately go take the same. And because CLG's bottom lane is pushing in, TSM can't do anything about it. It's not really a big gain for CLG because, Sven was the first one to do it, so he already stole away the Krugs, but you can be punished for that play if your bottom lane isn't pushing like this. Stixxay and Afro will kind of afford Omar the safety to go for this, answer counter, basically.
So just a trade, and conversely, Hornsler shoving top lane, so you can see how the pressure kind of works on either side of the map. And I see Smithy also weighing in on the matchup, giving Omar got some credit for the Sejuani pick.
XD, classic CLG Sejuani. Let's see it.
Well, level 4 right now with 2 buffs, so looking good, but lots of farming at the moment as Bjergsen off to the side. Maybe setting a trap here for Huhi, a little far forward in this lane right now.
Oh, Sven Skaren should get in there with the twisted advance.
Yeah, Huhi all getting a flash on. He flashes out of the way with the Bramble Smash through the rocks, and then again as he gets moved back into it, he's one more Q. Bjergsen just lining it up. Huhi managed to ghost out of the way.
Really nice dodging from Huhi, but the impressive part that I want to point out in that TSM gank, which multiple other teams have messed up in the Maokai plus Taliyah combination. We'll wait for it after this, though, because Omar God's going to try and get some of the Raptor. Oh! He got the last one. The impressive part, which multiple teams have messed up, is immediately the Maokai is so used to, because of muscle memory, arcane smashing right after the twisted advance. Bottom lane's gonna die, though!
Must put the shield up, has to be careful. Ignite's down there as arrows go in from Stixxay. Only one summon to burn. Biofrost barely lives as Double Lift forced to burn the heal just to make sure Bio can live.
Woo. Nice all in, though. It does give CLG control of the lane. That is an Ignite for the heal as well as the exhaust down for TSM. 2-for-1 summoner spells over to Counter Logic Gaming. I don't think we'll see a replay, but waiting, the communication there, twisted advance, hey, you're gonna hit your seismic shove.
Yep.
Then I'll arcane smash was nice, and that made it require dodging from Huhi. Now there's no summoners on this Orianna. It's definitely a target for repeat ganks. We will see the replay. I was trying too hard. Anyways, there's the combination. They get it, so then you get multiple delays. Arcane smashes them back. And Huhi is forced to dodge out, is able to do so with the Ghost, but as we said, now he's a prime target for TSM to try and pressure.
Yep, so clean. Even I messed it up, actually, in the call, so good eyes there, Kobe. Now it looks like actually getting aggressive towards that top lane. Bjergsen can pretty freely leave this lane. Now 6 might look for pressure for a gank, as Afro did get tagged. Stixxay back off a recall with a Vamp Scepter and some boots now finished, but looks like he'll walk back down safely, and Double Lift should be able to get his back in as well, so see what happens here.
The old Maokai counter jump.
Omar's gonna get spotted. No powered sapling, but gonna take some damage here. No help right now. Actually, no, there's Bjergsen. But oh my god, will Q out of the way. Then they're gonna take a few more Krugs out. Yeah. I've never seen Krugs counter jungled this many times in a game.
Maybe if Omar was playing a different champion, then Bjergsen might have actually used the Taliyah wall to go all in for that. Maybe get a summoner off the jungler would be more useful, but he does hold on to it. So remember that TSM still have this roaming power of the Taliyah. As I said, now that Huhi is a target without his summoners, he has to play a little bit more reserved, and that affords Taliyah more time to roam around the map. You can see Bjergsen there. He shoves up, he immediately roams to one side. He just kind of hesitates in the river, go get a little honey fruit, but it also kind of threatens Darshan on the top side. Doesn't lose out any minions, right back to the first wave.
Yep, just easy pressure here as Afro does clear a ward behind TSM's red buff. Omar's actually making his way down this section of the map, and if he steals this red successfully, it looks like junglers are trading right now. Omar should be 6 and might even look for a tower dive there, so a lot of really smart counter jungling by both players here. Sven and Omar have done a nice job reading each other, but that's just kind of meaning it's even. Lots of trading of camps happening rather than straight steals.
Yeah, a couple of tank junglers working off their pushing lanes. Hunter on the top side is doing quite well for TSM, by the way, if you check in on that Gnar. A little bit of a CS lead for himself, keeping Darshan under the turret. Not any giant lead, and the teleports are also synced up, so shouldn't be too big of an issue. But there's your level 6 Sejuani pastry. They're going to immediately start up this Inferno Drake, and that is actually a power move from the bottom lane of CLG. Yep. Again, another play completely created by the pressure that Stixxay and Aftermoo are putting out.
Yeah, you can see TSM. I think they've shown so much preference towards that top half that CLG almost walk in and just steal that out from under TSM.
And this is why CLG, banning out the Kalista after seeing the Tristana ban, and then also early picking that Ashe, trying to get that power for the early lane. Something they accounted for there in the draft phase. Double Lift is banking more towards the later stages where he gets to have big crits on Sivir.
And again, TSM gonna lose out on that first big objective. It is an Infernal Drake that CLG got, so a nice first one to get. And I'm kind of running out of time to gank Hu. He was playing, again, very safe with that flash kill down for about 10 more seconds.
Yeah, that's one of the big things I really like when mid laners adopt the Ghost even with the nerf to it where it takes a little bit of time to build up the speed. I just think that we see so many more interesting plays from them. Here we go, though. 3 members. Can't go away from that.
Dive incoming. Who are you going to get stunned up forever? First blood over to Bjergsen.
He pops the ghost, but you actually don't get to move when there's 4 members of TSM diving the mid lane. Omar just has to watch from the jungle, and TSM do find that kill just before the flash comes up. And actually don't think it would have mattered even if his flash had been up, as look at the amount of pressure they bring. Haunter was roaming down. Bjergsen gets a great angle on the Taliyah wall. It's basically 0.5 seconds between the Twisted Advance wearing off and the Braum stun coming in there, so he completely toasts Aphromoo. Not going to be able to get that one off before the recall.
Yep, looks like he had it, but I just don't think it mattered as TSM keep pressuring. Even stole the blue buff that he just got. Bjergsen going to have that one for himself to return to the lane with a 20 CS lead.
20 CS lead, 2 stacks on his ring, nice blasting wand in his pockets, and the power in the mid lane to be able to shove the wave once again.
Looks like Leandry's first as well with Bjergsen. No, that's not how that works. I'm going to have to do some different item. I have no idea what those are building into, actually.
I feel like he had enough money to grab the blasting wand up.
Yeah, and just bought it.
Because we often see the Fiendish Codex, you know, for that really cooldown reduction, just for that power in lane. But the extra money there with the kill, more raw power. We'll wait on the completed build. Now, it looks like CLG are actually attempting kind of an answer here, as they have Darshan coming down the mid lane, but he's just going for Scuttle, and Omar God is just back into the jungle farming. They're not really taking a proactive approach to it. Looks like they're just going to have Huki try and farm out, continue to try and play defensively, and let TSM actually call the shots here in this game.
Yeah, nice defensive there for Bjerg with Merc Treads plus that cleanse, so he feels pretty safe even when this sort of play happens. CLG collapsing with 3, but Sven gonna spot the buyer here as well, so a 3v3 gonna brew Bjergsen. No wall, but the stun already lands in as the exhaust follows after. Aphromoo gonna get locked up forever. Arrow's gonna hit it, does actually tag the Maokai. Huhi here with the shockwave finds it, kills Svenskar and Bjerg. He's gonna be able to get a kill back as Aphro dies and Omar. He's low, Bifrost in the last tag's gonna get it. Doublelift also roams up, but it's a double kill actually for Taliyah. Bjergsen still trying to get out of there. Darshan stunned up, not gonna go down. Bifrost able to grab another kill, and it's only Sticks They Alive for CLG.
Oh my goodness, TSM get the 4-for-1, and mid turret is short to follow.
Big play there for TSM. CLG tried to throw everything in there, but it goes very wrong for them.
Oh my goodness, what a collapse for TSM. The teleports come down. Svenskaren, no hesitation from this brush, waiting for them as Biofrost is right there on the Braum to roam up. They lock up Aphromoo. He goes down so quickly. Shockwave does get the kill, and it brings Bjergsen in. But that's where Haunter teleported to, and Bjergsen just kind of flips out to the outside of the team fight, able to kite it out, and they stun up Darshan just in time to save Bjergsen's life so they don't give another kill over.
Yeah, I think Biofrost, did grab a double kill in that exchange, so a lot of work done there by the Braum. As that fight got messy, TSM now up 5-1 and a huge chunk of gold after the exchange. CLG gonna have to answer, but 6A taking a turret hit. No obvious spot for CLG to really attack, but that first Infernal might just have to look to the second spawning in a minute 35 or so.
That new Banshee's Veil completed for Bjergsen after the fight as well. Very difficult now to knock him off of the wall when he's trying to come in. Maybe we'll see the more risky Taliyah walls coming in after such an early completion for that spell block.
Sven actually still pressuring here as well. Exactly sure what he's waiting for, but no one can see him just yet. Bjerg again getting the waves pushed up.
He was waiting for Huhi to step out of line a bit, basically. But Huhi, with his flash down once again, knows that he is in dangerous waters, trying to farm out his turret now. It's basically TSM's free map right now to get deep vision. You can see some of the wards starting to work their way into the CLG jungle. Once those are set, it becomes difficult for CLG to actually create those counterplays. As you said, very 5-on-5 focus, and when two teams with solid team fights have confrontation this early and get a big lead, it's difficult for the latter to come back.
Bjergsen going to tank that hook with his Banshees as TSM invading onto this blue. It's 4v3 right now, but Huhi's roaming down to make it an even fight. Blue buff though over to Svenskaren. No angle there for CLG. Darshan, no teleport, was getting pressured by Fonsa anyway, so again, we're kind of starting to see TSM's like different lane pressure points come to fruition here, with Talia being so far ahead, and of course Nan naturally having a pretty good matchup into the tank there in top lane. Just constantly applying this pressure, and now even moving down to this bot side to try and right a matchup that was going not great, but just fine for the most part for TSM.
And the biggest and most classic pressure point of TSM for their lanes, the mid lane. That's where they converge, and that's where the game is blowing open here. 5 kill participation here for Bjergsen. He's got 3 of those last hits for the kills as well. And not only can he roam down here to help out with this Drake, but he also has his wall to cut off CLG if they even attempt to go for objectives. So this is often why we like to see Talia teams not only using their walls for early kills, but when you get an early lead on a team like that, it makes it really easy to take down not only Drakes, but also the outer turrets. So this gold lead, we would expect it to continue to grow for TSM as they will probably target topside. That one is very low next.
I mean, might actually bait Haunter, but it looks like the swap's actually identified by TSM. They're going to move Bifrost and Double Lift up there. Now CLG saying we've had enough. TSM are already 4,000 gold up, so going to try and take some turrets and maybe open up the map a little more, because they need space at this point to try and get some work done as they're going to look to take over this blue side, but Bifrost already sweeping that out. No Steel forthcoming here. He's going to take the Scuttle Crab instead.
Trying to hover over here to the rest of the team. It's difficult times here for CLG, trying to find safe areas on the map to farm. TSM just right back out there, pressing on both side lanes. Haunter up to a very early Black Cleaver on the Gnar as well. Even though he's only gotten assists, he's got a nice farm lead over Darshan there. And the matchup itself is quite nice. Able to get more solo turret gold.
Be 2 turrets to nothing now. Haunter continues to grow TSM's lead. And this is going to continue for a while. I mean, curious to see where Haunter goes for his second item, but given the current state of the map, I think he will just opt into that Frozen Mallet you mentioned and just continue to apply side lane pressure for a while longer.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of magic resist early for dealing with the Gragas. He could divert from those build paths if he felt the need to, and just go into a more offensive item, as you said, but could easily complete something like the Spirit Visage. Regardless, how are CLG actually going to come back? Because they do have some defensive vision on this red quadrant, but it's very risky for them to start this play. They're spread out right now. Ash Arrow could come from topside, but 6A would be far away as far as adding DPS, and Omar going to get cut off early.
Great wall from Bjergsen. Rift Tower goes over to TSM, and Omar books it out of the way. Haunter actually caught in transition. Arrow is going to land in. The shot committed and does kill Haunter. Firefrost getting locked up as well, but the Marco ultimate riding in. There's a great glacial fissure, but Hui managed to grab a double. Bjergsen trying to play clean up as Sven and Double Lift outputting what they can. Darshan though going to get away as Sven splashes after him. Bjergsen still chasing, trying to lock one down. Flashens gets Hui, looks to knock Afro back up, but he gets tagged back in by the Flay. Bjergsen though still going forward as Sven did take out Darshan. And an even trade at the end, but plus Rift Herald for TSM.
TSM salvaged that team fight after Haunter gets changed CC down to 0. And Bjergsen flashes into 4 to grab another kill for themselves. All right, so TSM started off. Bjergsen cuts off Omar. They get the dash out of the Sejuani, but Haunter is right in the middle of all the CC. That being said, those were all ultimates. Every ultimate but the Thresh was thrown to kill Haunter. If you don't have any more of those left, that's why TSM are flashing forward here. Everybody's on the chase. Keeping track of the cooldowns means there's no more threat here from CLG. We can just try and chase them down, even though it was technically a 4v5 after they executed Haunter. Double F though.
He's in a 1v3, but it's going to be a 2v3 soon enough. Firefrost also running in to try and help, but the stuns last too long. Haunter going to make it, but not sure he's going to want this 2v3. TSM a little late to that rotation.
Same old Afro move, telling Double F to stop split pushing off in the side lane. This time he goes and puts a stop to it himself.
Good bit of gold there. Does get the turret, so not the worst trade overall in gold for TSM as they continue to ride that objective lead, but still a nice pick there for CLG, who are looking to play catch-up in gold, still behind almost 6,000 very early into this one.
Yeah, because we were already starting to worry about what does it even look like for CLG getting back into this game, and they do need to use Fog of War because Bjergsen here cutting off another objective. Doesn't quite get the minion wave, actually. I believe he wanted to get those minions back so that they would have more alone time with the Rift Herald, but regardless, Shelly comes down, and so goes the turret.
Yeah, gonna be enough here. Turret needs one more swipe or two, and should be taken out. Does get destroyed there as the minions finish off the work, and now TSM still back towards mid. CLG gonna take the long way around to try and play it safe, but so much pressure here for TSM in every single lane. Even double if just getting things split there on the top side, but Stixay knows that he is not safe to farm there for very long, so he's going to have to back away. There's a pushing that wave in.
Yeah, there's no safe space for CLG farming except under their turrets. And even then, you have a Righteous Glory already completed by Svenskeren. And with the mobility in the rest of TSM, you have to worry about them collapsing or even going for one of those dives if they do see, low mobility Ashe separated from the rest of the team. All that deep vision we talked about, it has taken effect. If we turn the Fog of War for CLG's perspective, this is one of the most scary ways to play League of Legends. Baron is an option for your enemy team at 20 minutes already, and they have almost nowhere to go. Afromu right now is trying to get them some vision in their own jungle back so they can even try and go, check the Baron.
And in the meantime, again, it's so dark. TSM are going to get vision down towards that Baron side. Haunter already pressuring Darshan in his 1v1, a very long bot lane for him to play in. Despite not having a frozen mallet, means that Darshan has to play with a lot of respect here. Even just 1v1 against the Gnar. Otherwise, TSM happy to just push every single lane and again, use that combined Taliyah plus Gnar pressure to force down some of these tier 2 turrets.
All right, CLG looking for a counterplay. They're trying to use Afromu's vision that he's been able to get down with the wards here to try and create a play. This is, even though it's already smelled out by TSM, it's one of the few options that CLG do have. They have Ashe, Thresh, Sejuani up there. It's a lot of crowd control. We have seen them, just recently chain the CC effectively, but TSM are not giving them an opening. Picking up the extra Drake.
Yep, should be a quick two-man Drake here for TSM as Bifrost gets a little bit of extra vision down. After going to clear that out, but again, quick Drake there for TSM, and I'll take objective at number 2 for themselves. Certainly a Cloud Drake, but always nice to be up in Drakes regardless. So CLG going to use this time to take over the Baron area.
And even more speed on this team that already has Sivir, Righteous Glory, Taliyah, Gnar. Like, TSM has all the go buttons at the moment, and they also have the gold lead to use those buttons. See if they can actually do it. CLG are still just trying to find a really advantageous angle. A bit of surprise does go a long way.
TSM pretty happy to play this game just at a relatively comfortable pace. They're up 7,000 gold actually, and Haunter just went back to buy a Chain Vest and finish his Jarum's Fist. So kind of splitting a difference on his next 2 items. Eventually he'll be at Frozen Mallet, Stone Plate, and whatever he turns his Spectre's Cowl into. So kind of just getting a bit of everything, but if a team fight starts, he's there. If his 1v1 continues, he's happy there as well. It's not going to take over one absolute aspect just yet, but TSM have such a big lead that I don't think it matters. Stixay getting somewhat collapsed on, but it's a 3v2 right now. Taliyah can get there very quickly, but CLG again, with everyone not being able to be clumped together and have the vision to make a pick, it's hard, even though they have so much CC, to actually find someone and lock them down.
Yeah, they're trying to find areas for Stixay to farm. They bring a little bit of extra support for him. Get some money into that Ashe so they can try and have some DPS for their team fights. This has actually been kind of common for the top teams recently in the North American LCS. I mean, we have had very effective snowballing from a lot of these playoff teams. And this is TSM wanting to make that case for the #1 spot, saying, against the playoff team, we're going to push it.
Such a quick wall. Stixay gets over the right side of it, though, as Omar still getting pressured, forced to flash out of the way. Bifrost was checking with the ultimate, but does not land.
Good lantern there from Afromu as well. Helps the escape, and CLG do get clear of that one ultimate.
Still pressure mounting, no. Haunter charging Rage back up. TSM might even look for a dive as Doublelift gets topside, pushed back out towards that tier 2. You can see a blue ping there as Svenskeren and the rest of the squad are making their way up. So seems like an obvious point of attack, and Haunter still with TP. He walks over to mid lane just then. Gonna get Darshan out of that side lane and again just move that pressure back. As you can see just how aggressively CLG have to stay clumped to feel really safe in a lot of these rotations.
Yeah, they're trying to catch up to the extra pressure here. TSM constantly weaving between mid lane and top side. They want to regain control of the red quadrant, bait out the Baron a little bit more. Once they get a little bit more money into Darshan, the split push threat really puts more emphasis on their Baron baits and more threat. We did see Sivir Ultimate use plus Taliyah wall. Like, they definitely have the means to engage on CLG if they draw them out to the Baron. It's just a matter of trying to get them. Well, maybe they even go for a dive. One of their spells.
Enough aggression to take down the turret. That's tier 2 gone. Buhi just, again, is not safe on his own with all of TSM there to try and dive him. So pretty easy turret takers. Again, they'll move back up. And very methodical, very well disciplined here. TSM going to try and take down all of those tier 2 turrets. And there's a catch. Finally, something breaks it. Zoma got caught trying to ward. Haunter doesn't land the wall because he cues out of the way, but the Markael is going to follow him. Haunter looking for the scoop. Oh. Doesn't go for it. Aphromoo going to save his jungler.
Oh my goodness. He goes back to save Omar, gets him out with the lantern, but because he's so low, TSM can actually burn through this Baron very quickly.
Yep, everyone's going to be in there, and no vision right now for CLG. Stixxay going to have to burn probably a hawk shot, as that's a TP in from Gragas. We're going to cut them off as Bjergsen going to try and help his team rush down the Baron. Omar not going to be here in time to spite, so I think CLG have to try and fight this one. But they're going to look for a catch. Aphromoo the target. Arrow goes wide. Sven flashes over, catches one attack. He's going to get stunned up with the Baron. Oh no, it's still exposed. Shockwave, CLG, they're going to take it. Gragas able to get there as Omar couldn't even smite. TSM maybe commit a little too much. They will catch Darshan, who took the Baron away, but even he's going to body slam out, exhausted after the flash from Bifrost, as Darshan will finally get called by Taliyah W, but that was a mistake from TSM.
The entire team leaves the Baron pick to go chase Aphromoo, and they leave the Baron at 2,000 or so HP. CLG slip in to get it, and that might buy them some time in this game. Baron buff goes a long way in defending, your inhibitor turrets. Their outers are definitely forfeit, and TSM are going to pick up some more gold here. But that is a little inkling of hope for the CLG squad.
Sven a little too keen to get that kill, I think. Flashes over to try and get it. But this turret's
around the rosy.
All right, well, this tier 2 is dead anyway. The CLG kind of knew they were giving that up, but like you said, Baron's going to help them try and hold this game.
When dedication to the call goes too far, maybe. Everybody go get Aphromoo. He's like, yes, sir. All right, it's at, 2,500 here. They use the Sivir ultimate. Sven flashes out, so there's no way he's getting back in. And this is CLG. They don't have a jungler, and there's a control ward on TSM right in front of the Baron, and they still are like, our only hope, we just got to try and burn this down. They use an early shockwave, and they get it. Darshan eventually does get chased down because Bifrost Flash exhausts him for it, but goes about as well as CLG could have possibly hoped for, considering the state of the game and TSM's lead.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, the confidence and decisiveness to go, okay, we chunked their jungler, that's enough space to try and take this Baron without Taliyah. Great call from TSM to start that off, but execution right at the end might have not been ideal. Still, CLG will basically hold on to this Baron, which will likely net them a negative Baron power play, because TSM still looking to fight. Garen goes all the way over, looking to get a big ultimate happening. Shockwave not bad, but Stixxay getting wrapped up forever. Omar on the front line getting CC for days, and he goes down as frontline 1 falls spent. Barely going to survive as he W's back on, but finally does the Hui. Stixxay though, chasing, going to get slammed down by Haunter. It looked to be an ace. Darshan, the only one left, he's barely got out of the way. Bjergsen going to grab a triple kill.
That was one short-lived window of hope for CLG as TSM put a stop to it very quickly. Another 4 for 1. They have their choice. They can, go pick up the Drake. They can go get the mid inhibitor, and it looks like they'll say yes, all of the above.
Yep, I think they can probably get both. We'll start here in mid lane. Noah Darshan, the lone defender for 15 seconds. Although Omar up in 5 now. But not going to be too much. Certainly not enough to save this, and Haunter even popping down to the Drake just to make sure TSM get everything. See if Haunter wins his 1v1.
He'll get it. He's going to transform. Mega Gnar versus the Earth Drake. Who's the better Jaeger?
Actually almost as big as the Drake. That's quite impressive. Well, there we go. Drake over, and watch this team fight again.
All right, Bjergsen with a very nice wall gets them all, but Sven had already gotten his twisted advance when Stixxay passed close enough and he took the lantern. Once you channel it, it's going in. Target ability goes to the end of the day. Haunter's able to finish off Stixxay. They completely dissect and destroy CLG through the jungle.
And poor Darshan, couldn't help but be late to that one. Popped in, was like, nope, I'm getting out. Leaves the area immediately as CLG. Not the most inspiring Baron power play, but hey, it kept him in the game. TSM are already so far ahead, and at this point, now 10,000 gold ahead, pretty much. Looking to just try and close this one out. CLG see if they can hold on. The one thing they haven't been able to find just yet is that big 5v5 team fight, and they maybe get one chance as TSM approach for the next inhibitor turret.
That's like,
I said maybe.
Yeah, that's like you pick your rival freshman year, and then you wait 4 years in high school, and he's working out every single year. He comes back, he's like 40 pounds heavier, all muscle now, this giant 10,000 gold lead that TSM have, and you're like, well, never mind, I don't want the fight anymore.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult for them to take it.
Oh,
TSM won it, though.
Ooh, Dashan, hiding in a brush. Oh, going to get chased by Spen, who's now 1v4, but the wall's going to cut everybody else off. Spen should be able to live as Hui gets popped back in. Dashan back in the front lines, but damage everywhere. Double it, takes down Stixay. Everyone's melting from CLG. Can't get through the wall just yet, but the flash forward there as Double gets that double kill. And again, still moving forward, should be able to take down one more inhibitor if they want it, but they're going to charge through mid and maybe try and end the game.
Nexus, more
valuable
icing here for TSM. What an opening game to this series, though. That was all TSM.
Yep, Carrie's dead for 25 seconds at least. Haunter scoops one in. And that's, oh my god, going down. So 20 falls. All right, make to the felt. Call me a liar, but TSM still working on the prize here. Nexus turret number 2 getting worked on. Stixay up in 10 seconds as CLG. The last few remnants of defense will not be enough here at the looks of things. Everyone flashing out. Bjergsen with a couple more kills for that KDA. Hook is going to hit double his spell shield, and TSM going to play with their food for a little bit longer here in game number 1. Nexus falls, and TSM dominate game number 1.
They're all smiles about that one. When something like that Baron play happens in a game, you're able to laugh at it because you still won the game, but you know they're going back and Parth is going to be like,
what are you doing?
One thing, though, about that, definitely going to save that one. Regardless, though, it was so much more about them snowballing off this mid lane. You know, the early visits that TSM made to that mid lane, blowing Hui summoner spells, then 4-man diving him, taking the turret and just blowing the map wide open, meant that it was a huge snowball.
Certainly was, and now we're going to throw it over to the analysts to see what they make of that TSM win.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. TSM get game 1 in their series against CLG. Let's go ahead and pull up Champ Select right away. I want to dive into this. Let's break down what compositions both of these teams were working with. Mark, 2 extraordinary team fighting teams.
Yep, both teams obviously going to play for that 5v5, but the big thing for me is just the early Ashe pick came out of nowhere for CLG. It's not something we've seen much priority on out of either of these teams, so it's not necessarily a takeaway from TSM. It's not something CLG themselves prioritize, so I'm a little surprised to see that early on. Kalista and Caitlyn are banned out, so
that's what I was going to say. To be fair, you see 3 of the ADCs banned out in the first rotation across both teams.
But you expect to see something like a Kog'Maw, right? Like, you know you're opting into this 5v5 playstyle. Maybe not right away, but you can wait a little bit and see what happens. And then you could potentially get that Kog'Maw, which is going to do great against the Gragas, against the Gnar and the Maokai. And as a result, it did feel like, you know, their team fighting was going to be behind TSM's if it ever went into an even game state late game, just because I would prefer a Sivir, I would prefer a Maokai, and I prefer a Gnar.
Yeah, okay, so we're scared of going late against TSM, but guess what? TSM also picks up the early gold at 11 minutes, 4 for 1 in favor of TSM here in the river. We'll take a look at this replay. Basically, the entire team collapsing on either side. CLG just barely not able to pull this one off.
Yeah, one of those situations where Bjergsen had been doing such a good job in the mid lane. There had been a dive previous to this that all the pressure started getting pulled towards mid lane, becomes a little bit of a black hole, and as a result, it gets this very scrappy situation. But Sivir, with that speed up, is able to get involved in this team fight and actually get auto attacks off, where on the flip side, Ashe had shot her ult in, which is great, but she actually can't really get involved until it's already too late, as well as the fact that TSM just generally played that pretty well.
Yeah, the collapse is faster for TSM. On top of that, the Gnar is able to TP in already in mega form, so it's an easy leap over the wall into an ultimate there. And then the most crucial part, as you mentioned, is the fact that one ADC makes it to the fight and is able to supplement damage, and the other is not. By the time he arrives, the fight's already over, and he's poorly positioned. So TSM snag a lead. The one thing that we can look at from TSM is the fact that they gave CLG one opportunity back into the game, and that was kind of a blunder around Baron where they all peel off, go after Aphromoo, and the Baron secure comes through for CLG, extending the game and giving a little bit of a hiccup to what otherwise looked like a very clean game for TSM.
Yeah, and on the same token, CLG did find a pickoff or two after this fight. They had a 2 for 2 that they started. They had another pickoff on the top side. So CLG was still trying to fight back, but when you have 2 very similarly styled comps and you don't necessarily outscale in the late game, it's so hard to win that game because, like you said, they get a bit of breathing room with that Baron buff. But that doesn't really matter because you're still down 4K gold.
Exactly.
You can't push turrets, and you don't hope to outscale.
You bought yourself some minutes, but the gold lead didn't necessarily close. So then when we get to this 27-minute fight, another 4-for-1 in favor of TSM. This illustrates your point exactly. Two team-fighting teams, one with more gold than the other. Guess what? That's the one that wins the fight.
And it's a really heads-up play kind of to flash further back in there. It just pulls Sven so far into the team that if he's not this tanky and the other team does not quite have the damage, he melts much faster than this. And it's just both teams kind of banging away on the other front line. The problem is that Haunserby, despite getting kited out and dropped to 1/3 HP, is still able to get onto the Ashe and eventually kill her. And Sven did get another W off to get to another target.
And again, in that situation, I think it's relatively safe to say that CLG wasn't looking for that fight, but they didn't necessarily respect the engage range of this TSM comp with that Sivir ultimate, coupled with the Maokai twisted advances or even the Taliyah wall to cut off escape routes.
It's just a team comp with a lot of power to start a fight. Both team comps have that, honestly.
Right.
If CLG was playing from ahead, it's hard to stop an Ashe arrow with a Flash Gragas ultimate or something coming TSM's way. But just because they got that lead off all of Bjergsen's pressure, they're able to kind of snowball through good team play.
Right, Bjergsen picking up player of the game. Earlier in the days, Irene and I had some time to break down that mid lane matchup, and it was very clear from a statistical standpoint that Bjergsen is the stronger laner. We know that his CS stats are through the roof, and it was displayed here. I mean, he had a CS lead. He was definitely handling that lane. Our questions around who he was, how well he was going to be able to group with his team, either bringing other members to his lane or for him to get to those side lanes, and it didn't really happen here.
No, and it was just he was controlled the whole early game, lost the CS once again, like you were saying, and then the big thing was he was getting pushed out. He was low HP. People had to go to his lane to help him get good recalls off, or they need to protect him from dives and things like that. So it does feel like a really tough matchup for CLG here, just because while Taliyah is strong in lane and can push you in and win trades, it's not as lane dominant as TSM could have opted to go. They did not take the Syndra here when they could have. So this is a situation where you might be a little concerned just about how hard Huhi can match up to Bjergsen. It is a very tough task. But they need to find a better situation for him here.
CLG moved to blue side here. Of course, that does sometimes open up champion select options. So when it comes to solving the issues that you've identified here in game one, I have to assume being on the blue side will benefit them to some degree. But beyond that, I have to look at the gameplay of just like perhaps they need to play a slower game from CLG. Look for that right fight. Make sure that they're grouped properly as 5 in order to take their advantage.
It did feel like they moved around the map a little bit better with the turrets down. That's when they were starting to find those pickoff opportunities. And it's something where you could say maybe if you go into the 15-minute mark, even CLG's superior team macro play could somehow take over the game. But that's the trouble with playing against TSM is that individually they are all so talented that that assumption that, oh, well, we'll go for 15 minutes at even and then start winning is not a safe bet versus TSM necessarily.
Oh, very much so. The other thing here is that, of course, I'm looking at the bans. We've noticed the Camille ban against Darshan. So TSM showing some respect for the potential of the split push game from CLG at any moment. Again, we just talked about these two very team fight centric compositions, but we have to remember that at any moment Darshan could maybe lunge for one of those more split push oriented champions and completely change the style of the game.
And I think that was smart by TSM to get rid of that because obviously you can flex that Gragas pick away, and it does kind of force CLG to play your style. TSM as well can play very lane dominant champions, can go for a split push, but if you want to neutralize it and force them to play a 5v5 standard laning phase where you don't have to worry about them eventually getting to a point where they're doing all this crazy stuff, double TP, these kind of things that CLG are renowned for, you kind of want to dip out on that situation.
I wouldn't mind seeing some flavor.
I wouldn't mind it.
Either way, game one goes to TSM. We'll see if Counterlogic's game can even up the score when we come back with game two against TSM. Don't touch that browser.